good evening. Bet you haven't seen this face in a while. I'm Candy Knight, and we are back on the Expect to Win Experience Talk Show. Let's get started with our show tonight. Welcome back. Again, welcome back to the Expect to Win Experience Talk Show, where we talk all things sports, all things sports. So we talk to a few student athletes and a few greats along the way. We talk recruitment and everything else. So we're going to get into tonight's show. We're talking strictly recruitment tonight with Coach Kelly. But first, my co-host, Coach Thomas.
Hello, Kandi. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back. I mean, am I still a co-host at this point? Has my job or seat been taken?
You hanging by a thread, but you.
Uh-oh.
No, no. You are the co-host. You are the star of the show.
So, well, thank you.
I'm so happy to have you back, and we have a great show tonight. If you look on, especially Instagram, a lot of student athletes, they are big on promoting how many offers they got.
Mm-hmm.
I got this many. I got, this school sent me a letter. This school sent me.
Yes.
And I just thought it was important that we kind of, we're going to do a kind of different show tonight. We don't have a student athlete tonight, but we're going to talk about something that's very important to student athletes, and that's what I'm talking about, recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
But we lost Kandi. So, but we're broadcasting live. We're live from Los Angeles. Well, actually, I'm in Los Angeles, and Kandi is in Miami, actually, and Coach Kelly is in Oklahoma. So let's bring Kandi back, and on live television, as I always say, there she is.
Yes.
Let me say, anything can happen. So, Ken, do you know anything about the recruiting process, or for student athletes, or is there something that you would like to know about the process?
No, I don't know a lot about it, but I do want to know, of course, what makes the athlete stand out, what they can do to, I guess, better their chances of getting recruited, and what the process actually looks like from the beginning, I guess, of their, once they're ready to be recruited, from the time that they start that until the time that they sign. So, what that looks like.
Oh, definitely. And let me say this also. It's been a while since Andy and I have been together. And as you know, if you are a viewer of the show, that Kandi is a diehard Alabama fan, and I am a diehard USC fan. And I just want to publicly congratulate Kandi and Alabama for, I don't know how many players they got drafted in this NFL draft. It was just ungodly.
Oh, that's our norm.
That program, I'm calling for an investigation.
I mean, who wouldn't want to be on the best team?
I want to investigate. But no, Alabama, they obviously have a great program over there. So, congratulations to all you Alabama fans out
Mhm.
there, both of you, Candy and whoever else.
Oh, it's quite a few of us.
All right, everybody, we're gonna get to our show. We have a new team. Well, he's not a new team member, but he's been with us because he is a college recruit specialist, and that is none other than Coach James Kelly. Coach Kelly,
Good evening. Welcome to the show.
there he is.
How you guys doing? Hey, I just want to throw in there. I'm a diehard OU fan.
Okay. Add another team to the bunch.
You know how we do with
Here we go.
quarterbacks. You know how we do with quarterbacks. So I mean, all the guys you got playing, it's up to us to get the job done.
Gotta give you your props on that for sure. Maybe you guys will win a championship soon.
Oh, that hurt
Yeah.
my heart right there. That hurt my heart.
Oh, oh, Candy hitting below the belt. That's all right, but here, here at the University of Southern California, we ride on tradition.
Okay.
And as you know, come back, and we will be back. We will be
Okay.
back. So
Okay.
it is. The day that we see Bo Thomas running out of the back, and I'll leave it.
Okay.
We're going to talk about recruiting tonight, Coach Kelly. So, uh, you being the recruitment expert, and I know we kind of changed the show around a little bit. Uh, I was saying earlier, if you look on Twitter, that's all you see. Everybody talking about. I got an offer from this school. I got a letter from this
Mhm.
school, and I know you talked about it once before, but why don't you talk about what is the first step of the recruiting process for a high school student wanting to get the attention of a college recruiter or a college coach?
That's kind of a hard. I don't want to say a hard question to answer. Obviously, the kid being a dominant athlete is the beginning of it because there's different levels of athletes. There's also different levels of colleges. Each each level has its own kid that they can attain. Of course, there are certain levels that can attain other athletes because of they're just an elite level athlete, unless their grades come into play, which happens quite a bit. But ultimately, this is really a statement to the kids. Unless you invest time in yourself to make yourself better at whatever sport you're doing, you're probably not going to get recruited. So I'm going to say the first step is that you invest in yourself as
Mhm.
a player to do basic fundamental things to your sport to lay a base so that you can build elite skills on top of the base skills. If you don't have that, then I mean, a lot of times people will get by on athleticism, but when you get into the in a playoff situation or you get and you're playing against other elite level athletes, that is when your basic fundamentals or lack of them is exposed. You either have them or you don't. So really, that's the first step is a student athlete investing in themselves to do things correctly and repeatedly. And I'd actually just sent I sent a video to my own team about how Kobe Bryant was all he did was everything was basic. At 4:30 in the morning, he was working on basic footwork, and one of the guys asked him, how are you the best player in the world and you're only doing basic stuff?" He said, "Why do you think I'm the best player in the world?" He
Mhm.
masters the basics
Mhm.
in order to do that. Another example of that is Tom Brady. Before his high school coach passed, would always go back home to his high
Right.
school coach, and he
So
would stick to the basics.
that's interesting, Coach Kelly. You said that the basics. When you have the basics, they're going to be if you or your lack of will be exposed to get to that level. When you talk about the different levels, I mean, everybody wants to go Division One.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between Division One, Division Two, and Division Three schools?
Well, there's ultimately it's just attendance. On the school side, it's just attendance and money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the same manner that you have different classes of high schools where the attendance is the separator, it's the same thing with colleges. Now, with that, obviously comes the larger the school. If you're a larger college, you have access to more money, more boosters, and also the elite level talents because your facilities are going to be there. Lower level schools don't have that access, therefore, they don't have access to the elite level players. But again, unless grades is a an issue, which a lot of times it is.
Okay, Candy.
Okay. For you as a recruiter or knowing a lot about the recruitment process, what stands out to you besides the grades? You said the basic skills and the grades. Do you guys or do they ever look at how they get along with other teammates or how coachable they are or willing to learn?
Uh, Once the recruiting process does start and they are looking at kids, this is a funny statement to make, but once they identify you as a potential athlete for their program, they are then at that point looking for a reason not to recruit you. What I mean by that
Mm-hmm.
is, what is your image like? Do you get along with teammates? Do you have weaknesses or things that are being hidden, that are being covered up, and they look for things like that. It's kind of weird to say that, but after that, those are the things that are going to be a separator. Do you have a bad social media image?
Mm,
What are you doing? Things like that.
makes sense.
Coach Kelly, tell me this. Okay, we're coming out of a pandemic. How is that? I mean, because nobody has had a, well, at least I know here in Southern California, nobody has had a regular school year. Is that being taken into account as recruiters look at kids, especially when it comes to their grades? Because kids that were doing good prior to the pandemic may have fallen off during the pandemic. Is that being taken into consideration that to your knowledge?
It really depends on the institution and it depends on the program. Um, there are being exceptions made on the college level. They are given, I mean, basically every level has been given an extra year. On the high school level, which I really, really, really wish there was a way to do it, they're not they're not making any exceptions. Every high school
Mm-hmm.
senior who didn't get a season this year missed out,
Mm-hmm.
which affects recruitment.
Wow.
There's been kids who are left out that needed a senior year to develop or needed that senior year for exposure that did not get it. There is other kids who were able to play, and it didn't hurt them any. Grades wise, they're making exceptions to the ACT and the SAT tests, but the NCAA is making exceptions. However, the school can still say, hey, we still need you to make a certain ACT or SAT score to get in here, regardless of what the NCAA rule is. So it applies, but it doesn't apply. So they're still encouraging kids to still take the ACT or SAT, even though it's not required. Just because if you get a certain school and you haven't taken it, then their program wants you, but the school says you can't get in.
Wow. You
Mm.
mentioned the NCAA. What exactly? If we hear about it, what exactly is the NCAA?
It's a collection, an association of top schools. Really, it's attendance, and they're together to build an association. And obviously, all the associations are there so that ultimately they can create a national tournament or a state tournament. All states have their associations where they're there so that they can do interscholastic competitions, not just in any sports and other things, so that they can compete. And through those competitions, also when you're bringing in fans and stuff like that to generate an income. The income is supposed to go back to the schools and things like that. So ultimately, that's what those are about. It's just so that you can have rules in place ground rules laid, that everybody's on the same wavelength as to how they're going to operate, competition wise and also academic wise and stuff like that.
Okay, awesome. So for athletes who have several offers on the table for different schools who are recruiting them, what advice would you give them on how to pick a school, I guess, that would fit them best?
There's two answers to that. Number one,
Okay.
this is not a usual year.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because of, um, the pandemic.
Right.
Um, there's a backlog of players, uh, because of the extra year that was given. All of the seniors that had to graduate are coming back next year. So
Mm,
there's been particular schools. One, for an example, that was a Division II school, had seven, positions open that was going to be at the end of this year. Now only have two positions open because they granted those eligibilities. So now
right.
every kid that they
Oh,
were recruiting isn't get recruited now, or they're only taking the best two out of that group, which
right.
means those other kids are going to overflow. The next, part of the equation after that is last year there was a huge influx into what's called the transfer portal. The transfer portal is where kids basically enter this, database where they're letting everybody know we're looking to transfer. Well, last
Mm-hmm.
year it was kind of a problem. This year it's even more of a problem. There's been anywhere from 1,100 to 1,400 kids on the men's and the women's side, where all of a sudden these kids they're not deciding to stay for a 2-year program all the way
Mm-hmm.
or the 4-year program all the way, which causes another backlog for the year, 2021 seniors, which is also causing them to get left out. There have been offers pulled from 2021 players because the transfer portal opened. These
Oh, wow.
college coaches are wanting transfers over the kids who have not been, proven yet on the college level, and they're pulling their offers and they're looking to see who's in the transfer portal to give to the transfers first. So it's kind of a tough situation this year. So if you got multiple offers, you better find the school that fits you
Mm-hmm.
the best and pick it. It's better that you pick a school and transfer out later than to
Mm,
wait and think you're going to get this certain school and it never happens. And then because any particular offer isn't just given to one person. If I've got 15 kids I'm looking at, there's probably only three scholarships, uh, 3 to 5 scholarships that I'm talking to each of those 15 kids about. So it's either first come, first serve, or they're waiting on this kid to tell us yes or no. And if they say no, then it goes to the next kid. So they'll
mm.
have 15 kids on the same 3 to 5 scholarships and just hope one of these works out. So I mean, you could have to be careful. A lot of these kids are sitting there trying to rack up offers, and right now is not the time to do that. In a normal situation, you could probably do that,
Mm-hmm.
um, depending on the level of athletes you are. But this year is not the year to do that.
That's awesome insight for sure. Because we love, I've seen a lot of athletes, they want to post all those schools that are recruiting them. So you say, go ahead and pick one and just be done with it while you have the opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Coach Kelly, what would you say? And let me say also to our audience watching, we're talking recruitment. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're a parent or a coach with student athlete, and you have a question, please type it
Mm-hmm.
in, and that we can address it. But Coach Kelly, what would you say? A lot of athletes frown on possibly having to go to a junior college
Mm.
because they didn't get recruited for Division 1 or Division 2 or whatever. What would you say? Is there a downside to that, or does it even really matter?
Is there a downside to a junior college? I, I'd have to say no.
Yes.
The reason why, no, junior college, it was kind of originally for development purposes. When I was younger, it was looked down upon, which was a long time ago. But now, in my opinion, if you can't get to a 4-year, which is quite a few, go to a junior college. Here's the reason why. Yes, it's for development. And yes, there are elite level athletes that are there because their academics are not on
Mm.
par with what they need to be. But people have no idea how super competitive the junior college level is, not just for basketball, for all sports. And the other thing that it does, when kids go to junior college, the whole point of going there is to get to the next level after there. We're coming to this 2-year school to get to a 4-year university.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you learn how to be hungry, because if you're not hungry, you get left out, or you don't get to play, or you get sent home. And kids that come out of junior college are so much more tougher than other kids who are, and I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean that in a sense of these kids are already athletic anyways. And you talked about the separation. Sometimes the separation becomes between two elite level athletes is who's the more aggressive. And a kid coming from a junior college where your spot can be taken anytime, or you have to share time, or you have to dominate in order to, to be able to stay on the floor or stay on the field. And you develop that because it's every day for 2 years. And if I don't do this today, then I lose my spot. And then they develop that mentality. They didn't go to a 4-year school, and they have the experience that a college, the 4-year program wants, and they have the hunger and the drive. And a lot of times coaches will say, "I'm looking for a dog. I'm looking for a dog." Well, there's a reason they go to junior colleges for that dog.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Wow. That's interesting because I hear so young people, I don't want to go to a JC. I don't want to go to a JC. I want
Mm-hmm.
to go D1, D1. But when they don't have the grade, important coach, you know, I was my grandson Bo. You guys know Bo Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
and we were looking at different requirements for different colleges. And it just kind of took me back, even though I didn't graduate from college. I went for a year or two, couple of years, but now where I am, I'm looking at all of these classes that and I'm thinking, why in the world do you need 4 years of Spanish? Why do you need, because unless you're going into foreign language or my question is, I know you need certain classes to get into college, but a basic high school education, will that get you into D1 college?
Well, I know here in Oklahoma, there's what they call general ed diplomas, and then there's college prep diplomas. And, you know, it matters, but it doesn't matter. Now, ultimately, NCAA does have what they call a clearinghouse. And that was actually going to be the subject that we were going to talk about this week in my 5-minute segment, which was
Mm-hmm.
the NAIA clearinghouse and the NCAA clearinghouse. Now, what that does is number one, it checks to make sure that players are still in amateur status, meaning they have not played any athletics and been paid for it. The other thing, it registers to see if their classes pass, and they call them qualifiers if they pass the required courses. And then the other thing is there's little fees that you get that obviously the NCAA and NAIA get in order to bring in an athlete into their association. And it's not expensive, but I mean you know those associations are there and they're going to make some money. But uh, ultimately, and I've said this before, education is the whole reason why you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
playing athletics anyways. And in the end, that college degree is going to be uh, the most important thing that you've accomplished. Even though you've extended your athletic career, that degree is worth more than anything. Your earning power over a 20-year career in a job is 930,000 to $1 million of
Mm-hmm.
more earned money because you have a college degree versus if you just have a high school degree. And people don't understand that. But all they're looking at is I'm playing another 4 years and that's all that matters. Well, even me, after playing my 4 years and ended up getting my master's degree, did not realize how much the extra money that I was making, and I didn't care. Like at the time, I'm a young kid, I don't care. Now I'm sitting here looking at them like, oh, swear I'm so happy that I got those pieces of paper that said that I went to school, because ultimately people who graduate, you number one, you change majors 4 or 5 times. That's an average for any student. And then once you get out, over 80% of the people who get a college degree don't even work in the major that they graduated in.
Mhm.
So it ain't even about, it's not even about what you're majoring in or whatever. It's, can you finish and get your education? That's what it's about.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know the NFL draft just happened a week or two ago, a few weeks ago. Since you're heavy into recruitment, do you follow them heavily? Do you do predictions or say, I bet this team is going to choose this player? I imagine that you would. But what's that like for you? Do you watch, or are you really into the drafts when they roll around yearly?
Yeah, I do follow them. I'm not deep into them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and the only reason why I say is just, it's not because I'm not interested, hugely interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I get so busy because I teach a class. I during, this isn't normal this year. I haven't done it, but normally I'm coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have this recruiting stuff that I'm doing, and my phone's ringing off the hook, and kids are looking for me. And but whenever those drafts come up and I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
at it, and ultimately it's almost like they're pre-selected, and it's obviously
Mm-hmm.
it's the need of a team,
Right.
but you almost know before the draft where kids are going. There's very few times that that things that happen that are out of sorts, and they
Mm-hmm.
knew what was going in, what they were going to get. um, so it's just kind of a matter of waiting to see who they pick, and most of the time they already knew who they were going to pick anyway.
Yeah, for the general public. Yeah, I really enjoy watching them for sure. Yeah.
I know for, and I'm not being a hater, but I know for Dallas Cowboys fans, because I'm around here, I'm about 4 hours from Dallas, and there's just a ton of Dallas Cowboys fans, and I get so tired of, oh man, we're gonna do good this year, and I'm like, yeah, y'all be sad.
Yeah, they just want to keep getting the top recruits. That's what
Yeah,
that is.
yeah.
Well, my son and Bo are huge Dallas Cowboys fans, and also my brother Dave. And Dallas will be coming here to play at the new SoFi
Oh.
Stadium, playing Detroit. Yeah, so I mean they're excited, going to the game. We have a question, Cole. If I'm understanding it, it's two questions. Actually, one
Hmm.
is walk on at 4 year schools advice. Any advice for walk on at 4 year school?
A
That's a good
walk
question.
a walk on at a 4 year. I actually had a kid that we went for a tryout last Wednesday, and
Mm.
he got offered what's called a preferred walk on, which basically means if anybody doesn't follow through on their end of a scholarship, that he's going to get that kid's scholarship.
Mm.
Walk ons, and there's a downside to this business, and there's a business side to this business that does not take the kids' best interest at heart. Walk-ons, and this is the truth. You're there to bring up the GPA of the team.
Mm.
Just there's no other way to say it. You're here. You may not be the greatest athlete, but you do want to play. We want you to play, but you're probably a really smart kid, and you're there to make us look better because your GPA is higher than all these elite level athletes. And you're going to be held to a higher standard. You're not going to be able to make the mistakes those elite level athletes are going to make. It's as
Mm.
simple as that. Uh, but the other part of that is you wouldn't be playing, and there have been walk-ons who have proven that they are capable. Jeff Hornacek, a long time ago, was a walk-on that did that. There's some other walk-ons that they were on the team and earned a scholarship and even went on to be pros and stuff. So actually, yesterday just signed a kid, had a kid commit to a school in California who's not a bad kid, is a really hard worker, wouldn't not what I would call an elite level athlete, but he was offered a redshirt spot, and I told him, look, this is the only school that's offered you a redshirt spot. They already said you're not going to get any action. However, you're going to be on a team. You're going to be playing, doing what you asked me to help you do, and you write your story from here. You have a spot on the team, make the most of it. And that's what I tell kids that are walk-ons. And you're there for not the greatest purpose, but you know, your story is in your hands every single day. What are you going to do with the opportunities that you're giving that everybody else is giving? And you know, that's the truth of the walk-on.
Here's another question. I don't know what this means, but it says JUCO route advice. You know what that means, Coach?
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
JUCO route advice. JUCO route advice.
It keeps breaking out. JUCO, what kind of advice?
I have no idea what that means. JUCO route advice.
JUCO route. Like you're saying, if you're taking the JUCO route. To me,
yeah.
To me,
I'm
kids.
What he means.
To me, kids that take the JUCO route, it doesn't make you lesser. It just means you had to take a different route. Here's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
What is the JUCO route?
What is the JUCO route?
The JUCO route says I didn't get picked to a 4-year university, so I go to this community college, and it's just a different route. For example, here's one: Jimmy Butler, All-Star, NBA All-Star, barely got recruited out of high school, goes to a JUCO, does really well because he works hard. Then goes to Marquette, and because he worked hard at the JUCO, ends up getting drafted. And if you look, and this is what I was talking about earlier, when they talk about players or coaches trying to find the dogs. What is Jimmy Butler known for? He's known for getting in your face and competing, and even holding his teammates accountable, saying, you guys aren't working as hard as you can work. Where did he probably get that? First of all, he came off the streets. You're going to survive.
He's the dog on the team.
Yeah. And
he's the dog on the
team. And he goes to the JUCO, and that's how you have to be hungry. If you ain't hungry, you get left out, man. And to me, that's a perfect example of the JUCO route. And it's not that you're lesser. It's just that you didn't get picked this time around by the guys you wanted to be picked by. So then you go to this other route and you just make it work. You know, there's tons of different routes to professional levels or whatever. And another one is the Duncan kid that's off the Miami Heat too. He went the D3 route. He went to a D3 first. And what are D3s known for? Grades and money. They don't even get athletic scholarships. He ended up transferring to a D1 and is now goes to the NBA finals as a shooter. And that was his route. So it's just different routes that you take, and every kid has a different mentality. You're going to attract and create different types of opportunities for yourself. But in the end, what are you going to create for yourself? You have to do the things that's going to get you to take you to the next level, period.
Absolutely. Do we have any more questions?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking recruitment tonight. And we're talking recruitment with Coach K. And this is I know I'm learning a lot of fascinating things. So Joe basically means
yes.
Correct.
You're cutting out. What did you say? JC means junior college?
JUCO actually means junior college route.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Somebody wrote a comment. It says so many players go to JUCO where you can get better, learn more, gain weight, and get faster. You agree with that, Coach?
100%. 100%.
Okay, good comment.
I actually had a player that played for me. She graduated 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. Anyway, this is a perfect example. She did really well for me. Scored 1,000 points. Excellent shooter. Putting her information out there, and what I keep hearing is she's too small. She's too small. She's too small. She's
Mm,
5'7". She's 5'7". She's a shooting guard, college level. She's too small. She's too small. So she gets like 2 or 3 schools. She chooses one in Kansas, goes to that school. Since she's just graduated this past Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, in that time that she's been there, broke her record for threes in a game, which was
wow.
11, threes in a season, and threes in a career, and is 15th all time on their scoring list.
Wow.
Got 4 Division I offers. Was the only player under 6 foot on an all conference team. It was like 6'1", 6'2", 6 foot, 6 foot, and then 5'7". What is that? What did her height have to do with anything?
Right, right,
Absolutely zero. And what did she have to do? She had to go the JUCO route, and she proved herself. I mean, she's hungry. There's no other way to put it.
right, right. And you have to be. A lot of times it seems as a disadvantage. You just have to work harder to prove yourself, to get your foot through the door and let I guess your game speak for itself.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is your favorite part about recruiting?
My favorite part,
Hmm. Or the most rewarding part of
the
recruiting for you?
most the most rewarding part is because kids all come to me with an unsatisfied desire.
Mm,
And they're coming to me with, I have nothing, but I want something. Can you help me get it? And when these kids are getting offers and then they sign that letter of intent that says a school picked them, whereas they weren't getting looks before,
hmm.
and because of the exposure that I'm able to give them, that's the most exciting part to me. And the reason is because they always say, be the person who you needed when you were younger. And when
Hmm.
I was younger, we didn't have AAU. Well, it was there, but it wasn't like it is now. And I went to an area school, which I did fine. I found what I needed to find, and I did what I did while I was there. But had I known what I know now, or back then, it was like, it's not nowhere near what it is today. And with
Hmm.
social media, how things are, it was a lot tougher to get recruited back then, and you really were limited in your area unless you were just a super, super athlete. And, like I said a while ago, that kid that messaged me from California who was an average athlete, but you could tell just by talking to him, just wants an opportunity and loves the game of basketball, gets a redshirt spot. Now, is that, satisfactory? Probably not. But you know what? You weren't playing before, and now you're playing.
Absolutely.
That's what it's about for me.
I love that.
Wow. So really, in a sense, coach, it doesn't really matter, or it shouldn't matter, rather, to a kid if they go D1, D2, D3, or even JC. If they want to play, they should be, where whoever gives them an opportunity to play, be grateful for it. Correct?
Yes, and let me elaborate on that. Uh, there have been players who are waiting on those D1 scholarships and they want to be recruited D1. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
Absolutely nothing. However, there will be kids who get 15 Division II offers and 1 Division I offer, and will go to that Division I and sit on the bench for 4 years and
Mm,
be unhappy, will always get recruited over, and playing time over. Whereas if they had gone to one of those D2s that were saying, I need this kid, I need this kid. If I have this kid, he's going to get major minutes. If I have this kid, but they chose a level, and you picked the Division I level, and you're not the elite person you are anymore. Now you're just the next Joe. Everybody's
mhm,
good at that level. Division II is the same way, but there's a little bit more discrepancy, and you're able to, But ultimately, and I'll tell these to kids all the time: go where they want you the most. And how do you know where they want you the most? because they give you the most attention. They're going to offer you the most they can offer you. They're going to be truthful with you about how they're going to use you. And, it shows in actions. It shows in actions. Don't get caught up in levels. Don't get caught up in labels. Go with what school's going to say, hey, and they're on you all the time, or you're texting you every day, hey, how you doing? And they're trying to build a relationship with you. That's where you want to go. You don't want to go to a school that says, yeah, we'll offer you, but we're only going to give you a half scholarship, whereas these other schools are, or just books or whatever. And then these other schools are trying to give you a full ride scholarship, and you choose a level that's already showing you that they're going to give you lesser. That's exactly how you're going to get treated when you get there.
Mm.
So, I mean, unless you just get there and show different, you could be possibly selling yourself out from a really good career. There's been people that have gone D1 and sat the bench, where if they go, then they transfer to a D2 or even an NAIA and become an All-American and win a national championship that they didn't get when they was at D1 and they were just sitting on the bench. So think about that. Do y'all want to go over here and sit on the bench, or do I want to go play major minutes and have an impact on a program and leave your mark forever? What's the difference in that?
Very wise words. And I think a lot of the athletes need to know that and hear that. D1 is just always the goal, but go where you can show
That
your talents for sure.
that's some excellent advice, Coach. I watched a documentary recently about Barry Sanders. I was
Mm-hmm.
shocked. They said Barry Sanders only got two college,
Mm-hmm.
two, and neither one of them were from major universities.
Mm-hmm.
And he is known as, if not one of, the greatest running back in NFL history. And he only had two college offers to go to, and even at his Hall of Fame induction ceremony, his dad didn't even say he was the greatest running back. His dad said, I want to give a shout out to the greatest running back ever played. And he said, Brown, he said, my son was number 3. I was like, wow, that is like, but that's the way his dad brought him up. But the dude is so humble, and he didn't even get, like, you think he had a long list of D1 schools that wanted it. He had two, obscure schools. Deion Sanders made a lot of noise the past week talking about the HBCUs, the black colleges, and the
Mm-hmm.
players, and he was saying the NFL ought to be ashamed of itself because they've never given those schools a shot. What do you
Mm-hmm.
think about a student? And we're going to be wrapping up soon, but this conversation is so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about young people and HBCUs or going to HBCUs? Is it any easier to get into an HBCU?
Schools are all the same, requirement wise. Now, where HBCUs come in to play, I see them almost in a similar light as the junior college. Why should it be any lesser? Uh, and in my opinion, it isn't lesser. It's number one. It's still a Division I university. Number one, the it's in the name. Historically black, colleges and universities. Like you're getting that. Where did it come from? Where are your roots coming from? And it has that culture behind it. And there's certain things that you're going to get at HBCU that you're not going to get anywhere else. The experience that you're going to get there isn't going to be like anything else that you get from anywhere else. And it's supported that way. Your culture is supported there. Why would you not want to go there to a place like that? And yes, it's a lot about money because not a lot of money gets through there and stuff like that. But if you look at the movement that was happening, and a lot of the kids were saying, "Hey, why don't we take our talents to an HBCU? Why don't we go there where we're celebrated more there than we are anywhere else? And when we go somewhere else, we're a number. Where we go somewhere else, we're looked at as we're just the next player and stuff like that. Whereas if we go to HBCU, it's different. And let's take our talents there, and let's and the parity between divisions has been a lot closer lately. And the reason why I say that is even in the basketball, North Carolina didn't make the national tournament, Kentucky didn't make the national tournament, Duke, stuff like that. Even in the beginning of the year, NAIAs and D2s were beating Division I schools. So then now it's not even about levels because the talent is now even beating the supposed elite level talent. So then, if that's the case in today's world in recruiting, why not choose the school like an HBCU? Go have your experience. You're not going to have any other type of experience anywhere else like that, and make the most of your college career, and see what happens after that.
Absolutely. Shout out to the HBCUs for sure.
We have another statement. We have another statement, and as you can manifest anything you choose. Believe you can. Out in the hard work. Never give up. You can make your dreams come true. Believe you more than anyone else does. You can achieve your goals. One of the another student athlete, is one of our kids, Mom Mangusho. He said, "Thank you so much. He appreciate the information."
Yeah,
So
great. Great information.
that yeah, it really is, Coach, and we're gonna wrap this up because Coach Kelly is here every week,
Mm-hmm.
and is our recruitment specialist, and I think you know why now. Um,
Yes.
if you have any questions, if you want to reach out to Coach, give out your information. Someone that wants to reach you. But this exceeded my expectations.
I'm happy to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Well, my how you can reach me is we have a Twitter, we have a football Twitter, and a basketball Twitter. My basketball Twitter is at NSA Prospects. My football Twitter is at FB_NSA. And those are separate accounts so that we can try to separate it out separately so that we can get the
Mm-hmm.
football exposure for the football kids, the basketball exposure for the basketball kids. We also have a Facebook, which is still under the at NSA Prospects. We have Instagram, we have a TikTok, we have a Snapchat, all under the same thing. You got to reach the kids where they're
You
at. They're all
do.
on social
Yeah.
media. And
Yeah.
think about it, all they do is switch from one to the next one.
Yeah.
So if I'm seen on all of those, you're gonna run into me at some point. You go back to the advertising stuff where somebody has to see something 8 times before they actually buy it. So I want you to see all my stuff, before you decide to talk to me or whatever. We also have a website which is nsaprospects.net. We actually just redid that to a social media format where you can get on there, post your information, post your highlights. You can connect to
Mm.
coaches, connect to other players, and you can converse together, all those things. And if you need to reach me by cell phone, my number is 405 933 6100.
Awesome.
All right, Coach Kelly, our college recruitment specialist. And Candy, why don't you give out your information? And this is the greatest student athlete talk show in the world. I'm gonna just put it out there.
It
We are the great
absolutely is.
Coach, Candy, and Coach.
That's
So look,
right.
hey Candy, we want to get another show, Coach, Candy, and Coach.
That's right. CKC. But my social media is Candy on Air. First name KandionAir. And that's, you can find Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. They're all the same.
All right, and you can read by Googling Expect to Win. Just Google Expect to Win, and I'll pop up somewhere. And but well, Instagram, uh, Twitter, Facebook, and we are here every Saturday live. A lot of people, when not live, you can go back and watch any of the past
Mm-hmm.
episodes. But we broadcast 4 weeks live, and then we take a week off, and we come back stronger than ever. And I am just so grateful to have a very talented and beautiful co-host and a very now I'm not gonna call Coach Kelly beautiful, but he is knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable for sure. Yes.
He is the man. He is the man. So grateful to have him on Team ETW.
Absolutely.
Team Expect to Win. So Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Coach Thomas.
I'm Kandi Knight.
And I'm Coach Kelly.
And this is, and it has been, the Expect to Win experience. Good night, everybody.
Have a good
Student
night.
athletes, do not give up. Do not believe in yourself and be you. And also get your merchandise, get your Coach and Kandi shirt. Next week, Coach Kelly will have his ETW here. Yes, he will have his. It's in the mail. And but
until then, I'm promoting my school.
www. Yeah, okay. Well, I have on a USC shirt next week. How's that?
Oh, y'all want to start that? Okay. Maybe I can find a championship shirt.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, good night. Be good to each other, and we will see you next week on the Expect to Win experience, live from Los Angeles, Miami.